What's up, guys? It is Dan back with another episode of F1 2021 co-op career mode in the Williams. We are just 2 races away from the season finale now, and it's a 3-way fight going into the penultimate race between Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Max Verstappen. So we'll see who comes out on top. As for the Williams, here's the development point progress for this race. I think all of the upgrades that we needed to protect for the regulation changes have been protected, and we even started buying a few extras in preparation for next season. But yeah, not doing too badly. So Q1, it was raining, which is, if you've seen the Brazilian race, a terrible sign of things to come. Amazingly, we got into Q2 with those lap times, so a big improvement over the last attempt in the rain. And then in Q2, unfortunately, I just kick it up on the curb a bit and, well, smash my car up once again. But Nick manages to get P1 in Q2, so not looking too bad there. And then finally Q3 comes along, and early on in the session, Nick does post a pole position time and somehow manages to keep it. So good job to him, and let's get down to the race. Well, here we are, the penultimate race of the F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode, Season 1. Now, of course, neither of the Williams drivers are in contention in the slightest to win the Drivers' Championships, but we will be focusing our efforts on the Constructors' title, as we are just a few points shy of Alfa Romeo. And of course, we've seen that the Williams car is particularly strong here, as Nick has qualified on the front row. Now, it's over to the commentary with me and Nick.
The first race of the season, Australia. Williams on pole, some incredible upgrades. A great start from one of the Williams.
It's not just Australia that's upside down today, it's the entire season. We're starting at the end of the season on race 1 as we follow Radiant Slothz.
That we follow the Williams, who is not in the lead.
No, that is fine. We will follow the Williams that is in the lead. It's just more stuff happened back here.
A nice corner cut from Radiant Slothz. Incredible.
Battling with Mick Schumacher and Lancelot Stroll, who is the next one in front of him. Plenty of action behind as Yuki Tsunoda forces his way past everybody, ramming them off the track, no doubt, as he is a pretty disgusting driver in this game.
Weirdly racist.
The suspense building. Has Justin Freshpot stayed in the lead? It does not say his name on the left-hand side of your screen. Do not look at the timing chart.
I'm glad we're watching Radiant Slothz just doing a lap. And
we always want to see what's happening. He's not being overtaken, I'll have you know. He's actually defending.
He's actually track extending.
Nick, do not get into track extensions. We know what you're like. We all know what happened in Brazil. And one of the other races. For some reason, the Aston Martin's double stack on lap 1. For once, it wasn't Radiant Slothz making contact with them. And Sergio Perez came in as well from the lead. So we're still going to stay on board. It looks like Yuki Tsunoda is going to the outside.
Oh, and Radiant Slothz moves across and hits him. You have to
Yuki
say
Tsunoda.
That is what you expect from Radiant Slothz at this point in the championship. Yet another collision as we go on board.
He should know
with
better
the driver
at this point.
Who doesn't crash into everyone else.
This is lap 1. It turns out that he actually managed to pull out a small gap over these over second and third place at the start, which is why we weren't on board. But this is near the end of the lap. They did catch him, and we're about to see why that Williams definitely is not supposed to be on pole position, as Daniel Ricciardo making absolute mincemeat of the Williams and being forced off of the track. in what can only be described as a racially a racial attack.
You have
on
to
the
say it's
Australian.
incredible, the difference in pace between the two Williams cars this weekend. Of course, the car's identical, so it completely comes down to driver skill.
Of course, the wet weather did actually play a part in the qualifying session.
As one of the drivers
saw
cannot
earlier.
drive in the wet, as you saw in Brazil.
One of the drivers has barely done 10 races in the wet, as you saw in Brazil. Daniel Ricciardo cut up there as he tries to pop a shrimp on the Barbie. And it looks like he's cracking open a few tinnies as he blasts around the outside of the Williams. Is he gonna? He's not going to make the move this time. He's twitching all over the place. He's got a koala in his race suit, but he does manage to get round the outside. And holds it. Valtteri Bottas also having a little sniff around there. The queue beginning to pile up behind Justin Freshpot, and we're only on lap 2. Back on board with Radiant Slothz as he defends from Yuki Tsunoda.
A 2-second gap to the car in front, 2 laps in, as he's easily passed by the Toro Rosso. Incredible how one Williams holds a Mercedes behind, and the other one struggles against the back marker.
Absolutely not a back marker, of course, because it is a Honda-powered machine that he is battling with, and after a bit of a horrid start, he has to make do with what he can. As we see Valtteri Bottas looking to the outside of Justin Freshpot, of course, not able to maintain that gap to Daniel Ricciardo, so loses the DRS advantage that he held on lap 2. And now Lewis Hamilton will make his attempt to get past. There may have been some contact there, it was hard to tell. Cars like to twitch in these replays. So he's going to have another go. He didn't quite make it the first time. For some reason, the track turned red for a moment. I don't know if you saw that. The blood of Daniel Ricciardo ahead of him spilling everywhere as we go back on board with Radiant Slothz. Coming round onto the pit straight. He's going to look to retake 12th place from the Japanese man. Of course, as is typical in these replays, we don't get to see any of the action as it unfolds, and we just have to look at the side of someone's car. And Tsunoda is not able to fight back on this go. Fernando Alonso, obviously nursing some kind of issue ahead, is causing one hell of a train right now. And Daniel Ricciardo also going slow, potentially nursing an issue of some description.
The Williams with its 400 horsepower engine.
An enormous corner cut from the Williams.
Some would
Sorry to
say
interrupt you, Nick.
Daniel Ricciardo turned in quite aggressively with his downforcey setup that the Williams just can't compete with. That is not
Max
a corner
Verstappen.
where there is enough room for 3 cars. That is damage for the Williams. And Max
that
Verstappen
is,
escapes without prison time.
Super Max on the charge, destroying all in his path, quite literally. As he comes into the pits and Justin Freshpot retakes 2nd place. And here comes Radiant Slothz, getting past Fernando Alonso, who has finally come into the pits. Let's hope he can make it to the end of this race on what can only be described as a damaged engine. As Justin Freshpot comes around. Under attack from Carlos Sainz now. It's Williams versus Ferrari yet again. He defends the position. Esteban Ocon most likely hit the back of Carlos Sainz there, but it was very hard to tell. As he comes up to the final corner and dives into the pit lane. Now we've seen quite a few tricks from the Williams team over this season. Let's see if they have anything in store for us today.
The Williams driver beautifully observing the speed limit as he pits for a new front wing.
And they've
It's
summoned a
already on
front
the
wing.
car.
The efficiency. You'd have thought this team was German.
Radiant
As he
Slothz
goes
with a
off on his way.
questionable strategic decision.
There's a lot of fire. He spins his car around.
For some
Williams
reason,
pit
he
crew-
was pit behind his teammate. There was no call from the team for him to come in, but he did so anyway, and he loses time, and he's back behind Yuki Tsunoda.
And God forbid he's also behind Fernando Alonso, who is nursing
somehow
an engine
ahead.
problem.
Of Lewis Hamilton.
I'm not entirely sure what happened to Lewis Hamilton when I was going back over this footage. I could not find out. And
He
he's spun!
A classic from
God.
Radiant Sloths. You have to say it was expected. He
The medium
cracked
tyres
instantly
have
under
not
the pressure
worked for that
of
car.
having Lewis Hamilton behind him. We'll see if the other Williams can do a lap without spinning on the mediums.
All season long, that number 2 Williams car has struggled. As soon as he gets onto the medium tyre, it's lights out and away we spin, as Mazepin likes to say. The shadow at the front wing, miraculously still there, so some great engineering from the Williams team.
It's incredible that Justin Freshpot, famously in the number 2 car for the first half of the season, didn't have as many spins, but his teammate still blames the car. Incredible.
Maybe it's carrying too much shadow weight. As we rejoin Justin Freshpot for the restart, Radiant Slothz is now out of contention. Was not able to catch the queue before Codemasters programmed the safety car to come in with a moderate track extend / corner cut. He has lost DRS range on Daniel Ricciardo again, so it is not.
Of course, DRS
Looking
not
good.
enabled because it's not been enough laps since the safety car came in.
Oh, but it might be in a moment. And he comes down onto the final lap. Sebastian Vettel has not been able to get past. Oh, that was the end of the race. Well, Radiant Slothz crosses the line. Fernando Alonso did not make it in the end.
Radiant Sloths,
Now, of course,
a disappointing 19th.
it's that time of day, Nick. Your driver of the day. Who will it be today? It's Lando Norris.
I
Why?
don't even know where he finished. He made it to the end of the race, something that only a few of the greats have been able to do.
Incredible. The skills shown by Lando Norris to reach the end of the race is quite something. Valtteri Bottas very much in the lead in the Drivers' Championship now. We will see the standings again very shortly. And it looks as though it is plain sailing for him now. Lewis Hamilton most definitely out of title contention. So now it boils down to Bottas versus Verstappen as we approach the grand... No, it's not really a grand finale, is it? It's just the final race. Pierre Gasly summed that up pretty well there with that very uninteresting cheer and raising of the champagne / sparkling wine bottle. Well, there you have it. Valtteri Bottas is now leading the Drivers' Championship and has a pretty convincing lead over his 2 challengers. Of course, some pretty unlikely circumstances are going to have to unfold in order for him to lose in the next race and for one of the other 2 to take the title. I now hold 16th place and Nick now holds 17th after that race. So we're not doing too badly. We are just 2 points shy of Alfa Romeo with 1 race to go. We'll have to see what we can do. And there we go. Well, don't forget, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when the next race comes live, and we'll see you in the next one.